Please subscribe.
I never truly comprehended the appeal of the Land Rover Defender until I drove a 2007 model to a 5th place finish in the Rallye Aïcha des Gazelles in Morocco. At the point when it worked, which was 95% of the time, it was relentless, its grunty diesel motor permitting me to keep pace in the rises and its strong axles making short work of rough slow climbs. As Land Rover sets out on one of its most significant relaunches, I'm glad to report that the new Defender is similarly as fit as the old one. On a 3-day venture through the wilds of Namibia, the Defender 110 vanquishes everything: rocks, waterway beds, mud, water and delicate sand. I'm certain it's acceptable on asphalt, as well, yet I'll need to stand by to test it at home before making a last call. My first experience with the new Defender is in the humble community of Opuwo in northern Namibia. The entirety of the test vehicles on this excursion have the discretionary Explorer pack with a rooftop rack, side-mounted apparatus transporter and an extra tire spread. My vehicle additionally has a deployable rooftop stepping stool and smooth snorkel coordinated into the traveler side motor air admission vent. Lashed to the rooftop is a subsequent extra tire, a scoop, 2 Maxtrax recuperation sheets and 5 liters of additional fuel. Gracious truly, this will be an undertaking. The Defender has a lot of gestures to its legacy, similar to the lookout windows on the rooftop top, the Pangea green paint and the stacked tail lights at the back. In general, however, the structure looks crisp and forward. I like that you can get it with an unmistakable wrap directly from the processing plant to ensure your paint, and I love the 18-inch steel wheels. The phony jewel plate on the hood needs to go, however, it's made of plastic and you can't remain on it. That may appear to be an odd issue, yet I've done what's needed landscape exploring to realize that when you're out investigating, hopping on the hood for a superior view is a need. Inside, the Defender has been hauled into the 21st century, yet at the same time looks and feels consistent with its underlying foundations. The Lodge isn't about extravagance, it's rough, with an intense, elastic-like covering on the dashboard, hardcore floor tangles and heaps of uncovered screws and bolts. I like the open stockpiling cubby that broadens the full length of the scramble, ideal for holding my telephone, shades, gum and sunscreen. In advance, all Defenders offer 3 seating choices. You can get a fixed focus comfort between the driver and traveler, 2 seats with nothing between them or a third bounce seat in the center. The more Defender 110 can even be had with a third column of seats. The Defender is the principal vehicle to get Land Rover's new Pivi Pro infotainment framework, housed on a 10-inch touchscreen in the scramble. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both standard, and Land Rover says this new programming is simpler to use than its past frameworks, diminishing driver interruption. Double Bluetooth innovation implies 2 telephones can be associated simultaneously, and remote charging is standard. My time with Pivi Pro is generally spent getting to the terrain response controls, and truly, the framework despite everything has a great deal of bugs that should be worked out. Land Rover concedes this tech isn't exactly prepared for prime time presently, so I anticipate investigating when a Defender definitely advances toward Roadshow HQ. Concerning other tech, vulnerable side observing, crisis braking, a 360-degree camera, traffic sign acknowledgement with a versatile speed limiter and path keeping help all come standard. In the event that you need versatile journey control, you'll need to step up to higher trim levels, where you can likewise include a back pre-impact screen that flashes the risk lights to alarm different drivers if the Defender identifies a vehicle drawing nearer too quickly. The Defender will accompany 2 motors in the US. The base P300 model uses a 2.0-liter turbocharged i4 with 296 drive and 295 pound-feet of torque. On my drive through Namibia, however, I have the redesigned P400 trim with its 3.0-liter turbo i6, creating 395 horsepower and 406 pounds-to-foot. This motor has mellow half-and-half help for smoother starts and force gets down to a full-time 4-wheel drive framework through a smooth-moving 8-speed program transmission. The gearbox is superb. On significant lots of soil streets, it never chases for the correct rigging. There is a third motor choice, a diesel, however we won't get this one in the States. For you abroad perusers, the 2.0-liter turbo diesel i4 is accessible in 2 conditions of tune. The D200 model makes 200 horsepower and 317 pounds-to-foot, while the D240 builds the pull to 240 yet has an indistinguishable measure of torque. These motors are likewise mated to an 8-speed transmission. The main day of the excursion doesn't generally challenge the Defender, and what dazzles me more than anything else is the striking ride quality. That is to say, it's no Rolls-Royce Cullinan, However, the four-wheel autonomous air suspension is truly something. Skipping along at a decent pace, jumping over certain knocks and challenges, my body doesn't move around something over the top. The Defender has steady seats, and in the wake of a monotonous day of driving over the earth, I show up at my medium-term camp with nary a vertebrae strange. The following day, be that as it may, crap gets genuine. I begin by going once again Gazelles Pass. Viewed as the hardest go in Namibia, Gazelles can be navigated east to west just, and is comprised of for the most part soaked downhill segments, albeit a couple of times, it's lofty to the point that I can just observe sky through the windshield. The course is covered with sharp shakes and planted in the path, and there are a lot of chances to get a couple of wheels off the ground. A lot to the ghastliness of many rough terrain perfectionists, the Defender utilizes unibody development. Since quite a while ago viewed as more vulnerable than customary body-on-outline engineering, like what you'll discover on a Jeep Wrangler or Toyota 4Runner, unibody development is commonly more qualified to hybrids that won't see much rough terrain use past an intermittent earth street. Be that as it may, Land Rover demands the new Defender is multiple times more inflexible than its 4Runner on account of this new plan. Moreover, the unibody bones take into consideration a completely free back suspension, which on a 4x4 fan this way, may seem like sin. There are a ton of motivations to moan about this overhaul. Solid axles are more grounded and progressively strong, and they are simpler to fix in the field. In any case, that is not so much what Land Rover is about any longer. Land Rover makes SUVs with free suspensions that completely exceed expectations over the harshest territory. The Range Rover is absolutely current and absolutely relentless. For what reason would the Defender be any extraordinary? Gazelles Pass makes me question all that I considered going 4x4 romping. Without a doubt, the Defender doesn't have a similar sort of verbalization as a Wrangler Rubicon, yet that doesn't mean it can't effectively overcome the harsh stuff. Full-time four-wheel drive with a 2-speed move case, a lot of footing control calculations and locking focus and back differentials imply that even with a couple of wheels not yet decided, the Defender can keep scooching along. In its most noteworthy suspension setting, the Defender 110 has 11.5 crawls of ground freedom. Its most extreme methodology edge is 38 degrees, breakover is 28 degrees and flight is 40 degrees. These numbers are incredibly acceptable. The shorter wheelbase Defender 90 has a similar methodology in flight, however the breakover point is marginally better, at 31 degrees. Indeed, even without airing down for better footing, there is a sufficient contact fix on the 32-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires to keep hold on the elusive segments of the pass. The Defender has no issue scaling the steepest pieces of this path, and the entire time, the ride quality is fantastic. Indeed, even with heaps of rocks and openings, I'm extraordinarily loose and agreeable. I'm not generally a fanatic of slow plunge control, a talented 4x4 fan, I like to deal with this myself, yet the Defender's tech is truly incredible. The SUV keeps up a moderate, consistent pace across Gazelles Pass, however the safety belt bolting over my chest is irritating. Peaking a slope is too simple gratitude to the ClearSight ground view framework, which utilizes a camera in the front to show video of what is straightforwardly ahead however typically darkened by the hood. Also, once more, while I like to be in control, the Defender is accessible with an extremely cool all-terrain progress control, a sort of rough terrain journey control that keeps drivers at a consistent speed. In the terrain response framework's auto setting, the Defender settles on its own choices about moving, throttle reaction and footing mediation. Thing is, this mode is somewhat elusive. The touchscreen shows sand, grass/gravel/snow, mud/ruts, rock crawl, and comfort, the last of which is the default setting. Rather, you need to physically flip over to discover auto. Land Rover says the Defender is arranged along these lines so the driver purposely chooses auto. However, shouldn't this programmed right in computer programs be the default? Well actually, however, perhaps that is something to be thankful for. The electronic caretakers kick in a horrendous part in auto mode. There's a custom setting where you can tailor the throttle, transmission, guiding and footing control just as you would prefer across 3 unique settings. All things considered, in any event, when the footing control is off, it's rarely completely incapacitated. Here I am, in a dry stream bed that is ideal for hurling some colossal soil perches, and I can't get the Defender to loosen up and play. Toward the finish of a 10-hour drive day, I leave the Defender without a twinge in my back or neck. This thing can go rough terrain throughout the day yet at the same time leave you feeling new as a daisy toward the end. This is an immense demonstration of the Defender's ride quality, something you can extremely just get on account of the unibody development. The most recent day of the excursion takes me to Skeleton Coast National Park, and it's here on these lumpy streets that I understand the Defender's inside is basically without dust. Following a few days of driving, the inside is strikingly spotless. This SUV is amazingly well sealed,